Hello, good morning. So much for joining the webinar today. This is Siva Devaki from MassMailer. Today I'm going to talk about the email deliverability best practices really make your email campaigns successful. At a high level, I'm going to talk few. First and foremost, the important thing is, of course, the overall deliverability of emails and the reputation, compliance, and boxing. So all these terms may sound new for some of you. Please try to get a high-level understanding during this webinar today. So the deliverability means it's very simple to understand. When you're sending out email to someone, the first and foremost important thing for you is to make sure that the email actually goes to the inbox. With the internet invention and the technology improvements, as you know, the spammers are everywhere. So it is the responsibility of the email service provider that the emails are not spam emails, and those are like real authentic emails. So there are spam filters everywhere, and all the ESPs and all the companies have the spam filters um, that are kind of always looking for the spammers and then trying to flag the emails as spam. And there are many factors involved, but so the again, first and foremost thing for anyone to really make sure that the email is getting to inbox is important. If at all you're trying to um, make sure that your email strategy is working and email campaigns are successful. And so everything is kind of integrated, what I'm going to talk about today. So how do you really improve the deliverability? Your reputation should be good. When I say your reputation, what it means, it's a domain that you're using to send out emails. The reputation needs to be really good. And also the IP address that you're using should not be blacklisted. So this is again at high level. And the reputation, the score can be anywhere from high to low. So you got to make sure that at least your reputation is not bad and it is good and it is really good, right? And how do you do that? Again, it's all through the email best practices. And also making sure that the IP address that you're using is not blacklisted. Again, who blacklist all these IP addresses? There are organizations, those are watching your domain and IP address constantly, looking at the email sending pattern, what kind of email that you're sending. Every ESP knows what you're sending and how frequently you're sending, who you're sending. All of those statistics are captured by the ESPs, and they would flag you, um, or they would kind of assign certain score, and that gets reported to the organizations, and organizations may um, flag your domain and IP address as a blacklisted domain or an IP address. And similarly, it's very important for you to follow the compliance. Again, every country has its own spam controlling laws, whether it is US or Canada or Australia or in either European countries or Asian countries. Every country has certain compliance laws that you have to follow. You must have heard of CAN-SPAM, that is US, and GDPR, that's European. Um, you know, every one of them is different. So based on who you're sending emails, you need to make sure that you're following the email compliance laws. That's very important. And we look into a little bit of the details though. And finally, inboxing. this is more like a feature that I kind of want to discuss. So what it means that you will have to constantly warm up your email at the domain and the IP address. Uh, Either you could do it your own, or you could rely on any of the service providers. There are um, techniques and ways to improve your email deliverability, but again, um, inboxing is one of them. So what it means that if you're constantly sending out emails to like a seeded list, and then if you're engaging in certain conversations between that seeded list and your email, that'll kind of improve the email deliverability. But it is very tough to do it your own. So you may want to rely on a service provider such as MassMailer, where we can constantly warm up your email domain and the IP address. Now let's take a look into deliverability a bit more. So again, in order to improve the deliverability, there's certain things that you really have to take care. I've listed 4 of them, but there are many things that you can really follow, but at least you have to follow at least these 4. And then beyond that, there's a huge list of best practices that you can follow though. So content needs to be always validated for any spammy content. If you have spammy words, it may just get into the spam immediately. So you would want to avoid any spammy content and make sure that you fix that immediately. And also, the target list that you're actually sending out should be really clean. And if you're not sure whether your list is clean or not, you should definitely, have to validate um, using service providers such as MassMailer, where you can find out what email is valid, what is invalid, what is, abuse email or spam trap. So there are various types of emails that you really want to avoid. We recommend that you always send emails to only to the valid and not to any other status. So basically making sure that your email list is clean is very important in getting a high deliverability. And again, when you're sending out emails, the domain that you're using needs to be authenticated. Also, you should brand the links and making sure that the domain that you're using is, of course, SSL certified. You need to have that, and you need to have a website. So all of this need to be done. And again, any ESP that you're trying to use, they will have certain mechanism to authenticate the domain. Again, if we are using MassMailer, we also provide that um, as a feature, making sure that your domain is authenticated when you get onboarded with MassMailer. Also, dedicated IP address is very important, as we talked about. And again, why is it important? Because if you are sending out emails, you are responsible for your reputation. You're not really sharing reputation with others, meaning if you're using a shared IP address such as Gmail, if you're using Gmail, then you're on a shared IP address because many other people are also using the same IP. That's a kind of a difference between the personal email and a business email. So if you're like sending out emails via the business, obviously the recommended approach is to get a dedicated IP address, just because over a period of time you can build your own reputation. Nobody is sharing your reputation. Nobody can even control. It's you who is actually controlling the overall IP reputation. So you do good, you follow best practices, you can build up a good reputation, and then that go a long way. So basically using a dedicated IP address, making sure that you follow all the best practices and making sure that IP is not blacklisted is very important. And how do you really keep your reputation high? Why you follow all the best practices that we spoke so far, making sure that um, you're not in the blacklist is even if you get blacklisted, it's not end of the world. It may happen sometimes. You can always request the respective authority to remove your IP address or the domain from the blacklist. And if it's a genuine reason, they will honor that and they will remove it. So that's very important. Also, you want to make sure that you honor the opt out. So if somebody wants to unsubscribe or they do not want to get the emails from you, you should make sure that you're opting them out. That's very important. And how do you follow the compliance? There are a few things that we have listed out here. You should always get the opt-in list. So we recommend not to purchase the list. So opt-in list actually would improve the overall email deliverability. And if you are sending out emails, making sure that there is an unsubscribe link is very important. So if somebody unsubscribe from your emails, it should be very easy by clicking on a button or maybe a link, so that they don't really flag your email as spam, and they would at least honor saying, okay, somebody sent me an email, I don't want to hear, I would just want to unsubscribe. So that makes it easy, and also that's like required even for the compliance purposes. And also it'll make sure that nobody is really flagging your email as a spam. That way you're staying out of blacklist. So everything kind of is interrelated. And also you should have a signature line in your email, meaning like your name, contact information, company information, address information, as much as you can, you should put that in your email. That way you're following the complaints again. Also, the email domain that you're sending out or using should be authenticated. That's again one more important thing that you really have to follow. So we basically talked about this unboxing. It's a continuous warm up of your domain and IP address by engaging in an email activity. So imagine whether you send out email or not every single day. If someone else is sending out an email on your behalf from your domain, and then they're engaging in a constant activity such as opens and replies and so on and so forth, it'll basically keep your email, the domain and IP address in a warm status. So that's called inboxing. And it's very the overall email deliverability. And we suggest that you should certainly use the inboxing feature if you're a serious and if you do not want to really get into deliverability issues, and if you want to make sure that emails are getting to inbox, this is definitely an important factor that you kind of consider and sign up for the inboxing. Again, just to add one more point, like all these factors are very important, but there could be many, many other factors as well. So nothing is really guaranteed that emails will go to inbox. I mean, even with the inboxing service, nobody can guarantee that emails will go to inbox, but it can influence certainly in a positive manner. But if you're sending out a very bad copy, or if you're sending out email to non-opt-in list or bad email list, right there, your email can just go to spam. So it's not one thing. There are many things that are involved when it comes to email deliverability. So I just want to caution you that it's overall best practices that you really have to follow every single day. That's why email campaigns, while you can think it is very easy, it can get complicated. So it's very important that you learn how to do this and practice, and then keep improving. Um, that's my suggestion. I'm sure some of you or many of you may be familiar with MassMailer. So I just want to kind of introduce. MassMailer is a native Salesforce app through which you can send single email, mass email, email alerts to any standard or custom object. Also, MassMailer provides certain email deliverability tools that you can leverage to keep your email's reputation intact. So we'll have a quick demo. I'll show you how to kind of use MassMailer in a deliverability aspect. We will take a look at the features that we have through which you can validate emails, and how to follow the compliance, and also how to look into your email deliverability score, and few more aspects. So let's just take a quick look at the demo. Okay, how does MassMailer help you to clean up your database? So let's say you have a list of contacts. Again, you could do it from the MassMailer list view, which is a custom object uh, through which you can actually filter the emails that you're trying to send to. So if I do a preview, it'll actually list out all um, the recipients, or rather the contacts or email filtered using the filter criteria that is applied in this list view. So there are a few of them. And if you ever wanted to kind of do a bulk cleanup of emails, you could do it from MassMailer list view, or you can also do it from a Salesforce list view. Both are the same. So I'll just show it to you. So all you need to do is come here, click on MassMailer Verify, and then that's gonna ask you to enter the email address. So enter the email address and then submit. Um, in the backend, it's actually gonna validate the email addresses that you have, and some of them could be valid, some are invalid. So as you can see, the 5 valid and 2 invalid total submitted 6. And if you go to the related list, it actually lists out the valid ones and the invalid ones. And anything that's invalid also gives you the status and why it is invalid. As you can see, the mailbox is not found, this particular email address, and it is coming from all those details are given right there, including the SMTP provider and all of that. You can also do this from a single record. So if you ever go to like a single record, there is a MassMailer Verify button right there. You can actually just go select a single record and select the email address, and that's possible to do it. And if you actually wanted to do it from Salesforce list view, possible, or if you want to do it from campaign, that's also possible to do it. So there are multiple ways you can actually validate your emails. So let's say you wanted to validate, say, contacts, leads. So you could do it maybe the entire list, right? And MassMailer Verify. And then you can actually validate from here. It's going to ask you for the email address once again, and select the email address and then hit submit. So that's how you can validate the whole list. But if you actually wanted to just select a few of them, and then you want to validate those email addresses, so you could always select which email address that you want to validate, and then MassMailer verify. You can also, that's another way to do it. And if you wanted to kind of validate the campaign, so if you ever needed to, like before sending out emails, you want to validate, make sure that you have campaign members in this particular campaign. So there's 7 of them. And if you want to validate, there would be a verify button. You basically just come here, MassMailer verify, and then you have to select the child object because we are sending out emails to campaign members, and then select what email address it is, and then submit. So that's how you can actually validate the campaign members from campaign. So those are the ways that you can actually validate email addresses. And if you have custom object, that's not a problem. All you need to do is enable that custom object and make sure that you add the verify button onto the page layout, and then you can validate email addresses from a custom object as well. And when it comes to adding a signature line, it is very easy. So you need to make sure that you actually have the merge fields that are embedded into the email template. Let's see if I have anything ready-made. If not, we can just quickly create one. Okay, so create a new template, signature. Then here, assume that you have certain rows here. You basically add all the email content, and then you may have some text there, and then divider. And then if you wanted to have your signature line at the bottom of the email, you could do that. So let's say this is your signature, and you want to say thanks. And then if you wanted to have a merge field there, so make sure that you go to the user, assuming that you wanted a dynamic signature, you can have the name, the first name, and then you want to bring in any other fields, such as the company name. You can do that as well. Company name. And also you could bring in any other fields such as phone number and all of that. Also, if you have an email signature that is captured, that is stored, you can also use the user signature. You can copy paste that if you have that. Or you can also have the individual elements such as company name and the phone number and everything. And if you wanted to have like a styling with your own HTML, that's fine too. You can have your own styling, like a small HTML snippet. And then all you need to have is maybe your signature can go there, or the individual fields. You can apply any styling that you wanted to this particular HTML snippet. So that's also possible if you ever wanted to do it this way by adding a signature. And then just save the template and then save to Salesforce. So that basically saves the template with the signature in it. And again, if you have questions, feel free to contact us, but we do support the signature. And also, whenever you get onboarded with MassMailer, we do onboard you with a proper authentication for your domain and IP address. So we'll assign a dedicated IP address. We'll also authenticate your domain. We'll provide the respective DNS values, which will have the to whitelist your domain with the domain keys, DKM keys as well. We also provide you the DMARC record if you do not have one. And we also recommend that you always have SPF record. That's your responsibility though, but we can always guide you if needed. So basically, we'll make sure that you have all the authentication done, and it's all done behind the scenes. It's nothing on the UI as such, but we will kind of help you to authenticate your domain and the IP address. And also, if you are signing up for the inboxing service, which is part of the Premier plan, we can also help you set up the inboxing service, which is all done behind the scenes. There's nothing on the UI. That's why I cannot show you anything, but assume that you are provided with the inboxing service as well, DNS values that need to be added to your domain. All of that will be taken care in the backend. And now, finally, when it comes to the overall email score, you can find out that email deliverability score in the suppression. Sorry, in this email monitor tab, this is called MassMailer email monitor, where in which you have to enter some information about who the sender is, what industry you belong to, what is your recipient size, and where are you sending this email, what template you're using, and what language it is. All of that information need to be entered by you. And then you click on this test email deliverable. That basically, kind of is like giving you the overall score for the email that you're trying to send. So, an example. Send from my email address. So let's say 10,000, sending out to North America, selecting a folder and selecting demo template for an example, and then English. This is just a sample one. Don't expect any high deliverability, but basically just trying to test, what kind of results that you get. So it takes less than 10 minutes to give you a report. Otherwise, it's actually going to send you a link in your email immediately, and it'll refresh in a few minutes. So the report would look like this. It'll have the overall deliverability score, and then how much may go to spam filter. So what is the inbox, and what is the spam filter score. It'll also highlight what issues are there with your content. If there's any problem with the words, it's going to highlight those words that may be problematic, such as avoid is not recommended. It's one of the discouraged words. So it'll highlight anything that is basically better than avoid, and it's a recommended word. And it may or may not be possible to really change all these words all the time. So, but make sure that you're at least trying to, clean up as much as you can and make sure that there are no spammy words. Also, it will highlight if at all there's any problem with coding and layout, it's going to highlight that too. And if there's any problem with the links that you're referring in your emails, it's going to highlight those links and also warn you if there's a problem. Also, the infrastructure, as we spoke about, it's going to look at your IP address and the domain. If at all those are blacklisted, it'll highlight them right here. Also, it'll look into your SPF, DKM, and DMARC, making sure that those are in good condition. If at all there's any problem with any of them, it's going to highlight that as well. And compliance, if at all there's any problem with the cookies that you're using, it's going to highlight that as well. And some of them, if you see like YouTube or Twitter, you can ignore because you won't be able to make any changes to those domains. It's only the domains that you have control on, or any domains that you actually like using your own domain, or maybe the third-party domains that you're referring to in your emails. If there's any problem with the cookies, it's going to highlight. And if there's something that is harmful, it's at least going to warn you, and you can make a decision whether you want to go forward to referring those domains or not. It's very important. Also, previews. If at all you're sending out nice looking HTML, it's very important to make sure that the actual appears properly on various devices, whether it is Gmail, Chrome, Outlook, or Yahoo, maybe the phones, Android or iPhones. You want to make sure that those are actually rendering properly. We have many web clients and many desktop clients and also the mobile clients that we let you look into the layout. And you can actually also look into the dark mode. And if at all you're interested, you can also look at the dark mode where the graphics are shown in this manner. And that's how you can actually fix the graphics if needed. And if you wanted to request any of them that's not listed here, for example, iPhone SE, it's the layout is not available just because it's not random time. So you can always request it. It's going to take a few minutes to actually load up, and then you can come back and look at it, and then make sure that it's actually looking nice. So this is this is how you can actually make sure that your email is deliverable. And one important thing that I forgot to discuss about is about the unsubscribe link. We do add the unsubscribe link automatically into the emails. Also, you're free to change the content, what it shows. And also, if you wanted to custom position the unsubscribe link, that's also possible. I've talked about this in other webinars. You can always look at those videos as well. But just to show you, so it's under MassMailer setup, under tracking settings. You can actually see the subscription tracking settings. You can turn on the subscription tracking, and then this will basically add the unsubscribe link. And this would be the HTML or the text body based on what kind of an email that you're sending. At the bottom of the email, this would be added. You can always update this content if you want it. It's not a problem. Also, you could save this once you made the changes. So that's how you basically use the subscription tracking and then make any changes to the content that you're adding at the bottom of the email. And you can also change the custom landing page URL. So once somebody clicks on the unsubscribe link, where do you want to take them? Or you can actually just enter the overall HTML content right here, what you want to display. That's also fine if you don't want to have a separate page. We also have subscription feature, meaning like subscription group feature. So you can have your own email preference center, meaning it doesn't need to be a global unsubscribe. Your customers can actually unsubscribe from a specific group of email, not to the entire email. So you can create your own email preference group and then use that at the time of sending out email. That way someone wants to unsubscribe from your emails, they can actually do it using this particular set of unsubscribe groups that you're choosing at runtime. So that's a kind of a concept behind this preference group. Again, I've spoken about this in a separate webinar. Feel free to, kind of go through that. and try to understand how it works. And then what else? Suppression list. Want to kind of show this. So anything that gets unsubscribed or invalid or spam report or group unsubscribe bounces, we automatically suppress them. So that is another great feature to have. So you don't have to really worry about them. Everything gets suppressed automatically. That way you make sure that emails are not being sent to those people who does not want to hear from you, or if there's an invalid email, you do not want to again send an email to them, and they get auto suppressed. So that's the suppression list mechanism, and that's all like native to MassMailer, which makes it easy for you to kind of work off this suppression list and not to worry about them or filter them when you're sending out emails. And again, you have verification status if you wanted to kind of take a report and take a look at what is valid, what is not invalid. Um, all of that can be shown. Everything is shown again related to a specific contact. You will actually see all this suppression list and verification status and everything is also related to respective contact as well. So you can get the report right from there. Um, so that's how kind of we keep everything compliant and making sure that you're getting best out of your email strategy, and you can improve the overall email deliverability. So MassMailer does provide all these tools and techniques that you can leverage through which you can actually improve the email deliverability. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat window. Or you can speak out if you wish. So the question that asked, is there a possibility of an intended email reaching a different recipient with a different email, unlike the one that it was sent to? It should not be, unless and until there's a forward, auto forward that is set up at the recipient level where we do not have any control. So maybe the person is not working anymore, or maybe he is forwarding that email. Those scenarios, obviously the email gets forwarded to the other email, but otherwise, it is always sent to the same person that you're sending emails to, unless there is a auto forward that's happening behind the scenes. Questions? Thank you for that. Anyone? Okay. Seems like no more questions here. Once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar. This webinar runs every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific during the season. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email. You can go to our website, massmailer.io, and then contact us, or you can send an email to me directly, siva.devak@massmailer.io. Or you can call us at our office, 1-800-297-0991. Once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. And again, I would meet you next week with a different topic. Same day, same time. Thank you. Take care. Have a great day. Have a great night. Bye-bye.